You've heard of Mazda, right? It's a big well-known brand in the car world. They do those nice little MX-5 Roadsters and some pretty cool SUVs too. But here's the thing. So far this year, they've sold less cars in the UK than BYD and half as many as a brand like MG. Part of the reason is they don't have any electric cars anymore since they put the MX-30 out of its misery. This is the car that they hope will change that. It's the new 6e. Do you think the 6e is sexy? Well, I'm here to find out, so like and subscribe and stay with us and I'll tell you what it's like.
Let's talk about the size first, because it matters, apparently. The 6e is a little bigger than the big sellers in this class at 4.9 metres long, so that's closer to a VW ID.7 than a Tesla Model 3 or a BMW i4. In terms of price, well, we haven't been told exactly, but they should translate directly from the cost in Europe, which we do know. That means the Mazda will start at around £37,000, which would nicely undercut most of those rivals, some by quite a big margin. The Volkswagen, for example, starts at 51 grand.
What do you think of the looks? I'm quite impressed. I don't think it's offensive. There's nothing crazy about it. It's a dramatic enough looking car. You've got this big panel here and you see these bits here, sort of these sideburns. These light up when you walk towards the car, but also they show you how much the battery's charged when you're plugged in. Now, that's a nice feature, but is it a bit gimmicky? I think I might get a bit sick of that if it was on my drive and all the neighbours could see the flashing lights. Under here, we've got a 72 litre frunk, and in the accessories catalogue, you can get a little basket to pull out so you can take things with you. That's quite nice, but 72 litres is a decent size. It's the same sort of size as Model 3s. On the side here, 19-inch wheels standard on everything. You can't get bigger, you don't get smaller. You do get some different designs though. And then you've got these strange bits which look like they're sort of from the accessory catalogue and something's fallen off. Well, not keen on those. These door handles, I know they're aerodynamic, but they're just a bit annoying to try and get to work. I'd much rather take like a mile off the range and have something that's a bit easier to use. The doors though, look. Frameless, like a coupe. How posh is that? At the back, this spoiler pops up at 90 kilometers an hour and goes back down again at 50 kilometers an hour, unless you're in sport mode when it's up the whole time. Or the car wash mode and it goes down then so it doesn't get ripped off. Now, you might look at this and think that this is actually a bit further out than that, which would be weird, but it's not. They're at the same level. It still worries me though, if you reverse into a lamppost or something, are you going to take out this big plastic bit here in your spoiler, which is going to get very expensive for your insurance company? Hopefully not. Well, it's a proper hatchback, not a saloon, even though it looks a bit saloony. So that's one over the Tesla Model 3 and the Mercedes CLA, I suppose, because this is big enough to get a bike in there. That's 466 litres, so not quite as big as a Volkswagen ID.7, but bigger than most of the rivals. It's not got anything under the boot floor here, but it's long that way and a little bit shallow that way, and the boot lip's there so you're not going to have to lift things too far. It's quite impressive in there.
The technical stuff is a little confusing, so bear with me. The standard range model has a 258 horsepower motor powering the back wheels, wired to a 68.9 kilowatt hour LFP battery, which gives an official range of 299 miles. Just sort of the 300. That will be okay for most people, but isn't class leading by any standard. The efficiency of 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour is pretty good though, and I was getting pretty close to that on my test drive. As a peak DC rate of 165 kilowatt, which is again sort of middling for the class, I suppose. The obvious move if you need a few more miles would be to step up to the more expensive long-range model, but I'm not sure I would. You see, it's really weird, but it uses a lithium-ion battery with a 80 kilowatt hour capacity to give a 345 mile range. Now that's perfectly normal, but it has a less powerful motor and can only charge at 90 kilowatts. That's less than a Vauxhall Corsa. Mazda says it's because the smaller LFP battery can supply and take more power without the risk of overheating, but I've never come across that before. So it costs more, takes a yawnsome 47 minutes to charge from 10 to 80%, and is slower when you're driving it. You'd have to really want those extra 35 miles of range to make it worthwhile buying one.
The engineers claim they put some of that sports car essence that they learned from the MX-5 Roadster into this car, and you can kind of feel it. It's not a sports car, of course, but it does have rear-wheel drive. It rides really well, and they've got the weight distribution between the front and the back almost perfect too, so it goes around corners really well. The steering has a sporty feel without being too like mini-like and dramatic and pointy. It's a really nice balance overall. I also really like the ride. It reminds me of a bit like a Volkswagen ID7, but without the kind of slight wallowiness you get with that car. It's a really nice compromise. There are 3 drive modes, which isn't many these days. There's an individual one, which you can set yourself. There's a normal mode, which it resorts to when you turn off the car. And there's a sport mode, which is perhaps a bit much for my liking. It changes the throttle mapping so it's a bit more jerky, and of course the steering as well. There is a slightly artificial feeling to the steering, I suppose, but I'm being fussy. I think that generally it's a really nice balance. In the back it's really nice too. You've got this big panoramic sunroof which brings a lot of light into here, and you also got frameless doors in the back. I can see something, or I could do if I was a little kid, through this gap in the seats as well. Then there's those nice controls too. So here, absolutely top. What I would say, if you have to go into the middle seat, you're gonna, even if you're small and 5'8" like me, you're gonna bang your head occasionally on this bit here, which isn't quite so good. Well, the floor may be a little high up, but look at all that legroom, and I can tuck my feet under there and get comfortable. I'd be quite happy here for a long while, I think. So in the back here, you don't just have the aircon controls. You've got a button that does the sun blinds for both of us, and I've even got this so I can get some more legroom and annoy the passenger in the front seat there. Now that might drive you potty if you've got kids and they keep doing it, but it's kind of limo style, isn't it? Both this and the bigger battery version have a 0 to 60 time of around 7.5 to 7.8 seconds. That's plenty fast enough. When you put your foot down, there's loads of get up and go.
This video is brought to you with Andersen EV, the UK's most awarded home charge point brand of 2024, offering over 200 colour and finish options, a market-leading 7-year warranty, and a unique hidden tethered cable.
If you're on a longer journey, it's a really comfortable car. The seats are great. It's obviously quite a nice place to be with all these materials. You can imagine doing loads of miles in this car without getting a backache and getting out feeling quite fresh. I've got these big screens in front of me and we're used to those, but the system does work particularly well. Even when you're on the move, it seems to respond much faster than other systems. And there's nice things like you've got proper electric window switches, which you wouldn't get on like a Volkswagen ID7 or even the new Mercedes CLA. This screen in front of me is quite busy. There's a lot going on there, which you don't entirely need all of it, because I've also got a head-up display in front of me that's got the speed and what drive I'm in, and will also, if I'm using the car's satellite navigation system rather than my CarPlay, will show me arrows in real time of where I should be going. This screen here is really good and quick to respond. To get the regen, I have to go through some menus on here, and I haven't been able to find it yet, which isn't great. You want to be able to find that quite instantly. You can set favourite buttons on the steering wheel to go straight to certain places on the menu, and I think if it was mine, that's what I'd do for the regen straight away. There are a few irritations that might drive you slowly potty if you own this car forever. First of all, visibility. It's not great out the back. I mean, it's not a Polestar 4, but the back window's not huge and it's got some big headrests as well. So this car, it bings, it bongs. I don't mind that, but it's better if it knows what the actual speed is, and it hasn't been entirely accurate on this journey for a lot of the time. So it's binging, telling me it's a 30 when it's actually a 50. I find that irritating. What it also does is it will tug the steering wheel if you cross the white lines. I wouldn't say violently, but it's really noticeable and a bit shocking. Now, the way to stop it, of course, is to indicate, and then it knows that you actually do want to change lanes. But if you indicate on this car and you tap it, it doesn't turn itself off. And then you tap it the other way to try and get it to switch off, and then it goes the other way. I don't know, maybe you get used to it, but I think the people behind me think I'm a bit mad. whether it's the longer journeys or in town, you really notice the refinement. This is a quiet car, there's very little wind or road noise. What you can probably hear now is just me trying to keep the air conditioning going with this big glass screen open. This one is the Posh's Takumi spec, which means that you get a choice of 3 different colour interiors. Now, my favourite by far is this tan. I think it looks really classy. And this suede material, I think it's really nice to the touch as well. How it will last, I'm not quite so sure. A few sticky fingerprints from kids might make that look quite scruffy quite soon, but I think it looks really classy in here. So for the controls, there is one thing which I found enormously confusing. Because I've got these different stalks here, this one does the gears and also the cruise control, and this one does the indicators and the main beam, as you'd expect. Now, where are the wipers? Now, I thought I'd press this button here, and indeed that does do the wash wipe. But what if it's raining and you want to do the wipers? How do you turn those on? I didn't know, but I hit them by mistake. One of these star buttons down here on the steering wheel does them. I turned them on, it took me half an hour to find out how to turn them off. The screen and the technology generally works really well, but you've also got some gesture controls. Now, this is the next level on from the voice control, because you are supposed to be able to do some strange gestures with your fingers, and it means the car will do various things, like someone calls you and you go like this and it will answer the phone, apparently. And this one will take a selfie, but it says screen occupied, unable to open camera. I haven't been able to get it to do any of them, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's software that hasn't been uploaded yet, but it would seem to be a way to embarrass yourself in front of your passengers in a new and interesting way. So is the 6e the car that's going to stop Mazda being overtaken by all those new brands? Well, to be honest, I thought I was going to be disappointed by this car. I had preconceptions because looking at the numbers, it's not the fastest charging, it hasn't got the longest range. But as an all-round package, it's really impressive. I really liked it. It's quite special to sit in. The boot's bigger than many rivals, if not the biggest in the class. The range is big enough. The outside's inoffensive. It's got plenty of room. I could see myself living with a car like this with no problems, and that's not something I can say with a lot of other cars in this class. Teslas and Mercedes and all sorts of other things have too many niggles that I couldn't live with. This, I could. It's not perfect, but I think it's a really nice package. So the 6e isn't sexy, but it's the type of partner you could live with.